Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho
Nigrihitani sarvashah
Nigrihitani sarvashah
Indriyanindriyarthebhyah
Indriyanindriyarthebhyah
Tasya prajna pratisthita
Tasya prajna pratisthita
Ya nisha sarvabhutanam
Ya nisha sarvabhutanam
Tasyam jagati sanyami
Tasyam jagarti sanyami
Yasyam jagrati bhutani
Yasyam jagrati bhutani
Sa nisha pashyato muneः
Sa nisha pashyato muneः
Apuryamānamachala pratishtham
Apuryamānamachala pratishtham
Samudramāpah pravishanti yadvat
Samudramāpah pravishanti yadvat
Tadvat kāmāyam pravishanti sarve
Tadvat kāmāyam pravishanti sarve
Sashantimāpnoti na kāmakāmi
Sashantimāpnoti na kāmakāmi
Vihāya kāmānyas sarvān
Vihāya kāmānyas sarvān
Pumāmscharati nisprihah
Pumāmscharati nisprihah
Nirmamo nirahankarah
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः
सशान्तिमधिगच्छति
सशान्तिमधिगच्छति
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week we were seeing this portion where he talks of abandoning the kamaha, that is all the uncontrolled desires. Now we were seeing it with respect to nirahankara, that is being without ego. We'll get into more depth of that principle today. But before that, there is a very important principle which you need to understand. See, when we are doing a verse like this in such depth, especially the principle of nirahankara, that is being without ego, now you should be very careful not to get into a state of passivity. See, when we say be without ego, there is a general tendency to misunderstand this principle, and many sadhaks actually stop expressing themselves. If they get angry, they suppress it. They stop asking things for themselves because they think that if I ask something, then that becomes ego. If another person bullies you, now you have to stand up for yourself. That is not ego. But there is a chance of misunderstanding this. See, if you take the Puranas, let us take a character like Ravana. I gave you Ravana's example with respect to the Rakshasic ego. Now it is not only Ravana, even the Asuras. Now these people are on one hand. But you always find great souls like Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, different avatars who had incarnated. And what did they do? They didn't just simply sit and accept everything passively. They went all out and put in all their efforts to destroy unrighteousness. Because, like if you take Rama, he was a Kshatriya, he was a king, and when he went to the forest, due to certain reasons, he had to live in the forest for many years. So naturally, his duty as a warrior was protecting everyone. So in that process, he directed all his efforts, his energy towards destroying unrighteousness. So the general tendency is to think that ego means being very aggressive outside. No, if you really think about it, Lord Rama was also equally aggressive. See, the very battle, the fact that there was a battle means Rama was also ready to fight. Lord Krishna was also ready to fight. Even though Krishna didn't take up any arms, but he masterminded the whole war. So here, fighting is representative of your willingness to face your challenges in life. See, don't take this fighting to be literal. Don't take it in a literal sense, and don't start fighting with others unnecessarily. That's not what the Bhagavad Gita is teaching. That's not what the scriptures are teaching. You should differentiate between an offensive behavior, which is ego, which is the asuric and rakshasic tendencies. You should differentiate between the offensive behavior, the egoistic offensive behavior, and self-defense. When someone comes and attacks you, now you should put in efforts to escape from that situation, to solve that situation. When I say attack, I'm not meaning merely physical attack. I mean, it could be verbal attack. It could be that you are in a position where someone is trying to put blocks in your career. The situation can vary, but whatever be the situation, the point here is, in the name of practicing nirahankaraha, don't become passive in life. If you become passive, then you will be the loser. That is what happened with the Pandavas. If you take a person like Yogishri, he was such a nice person. He was a good person, but he was very passive. He lacked the ability to stand up for whatever was due to him. Actually, it took a long time when they had to spend the 12 to 13 years in the forest. Lord Krishna used to keep visiting them often, and slowly he taught this value to Yudhishthira. That is, on one hand, you have a very good nature, you have good emotions, that is excellent. But on the other hand, you also need to learn to stand up for yourself. If you want another person's wealth, you want to put down the other person, then that is negative. That comes under asuric tendency. But, wanting something which is due to you is not a negative tendency. Actually, that is what is Ichha. Ichha Shakti means you desire whatever you deserve. You may ask me, sir, once I deserve something, why do I need to desire it? Your point is right, but the very process of desiring desiring in the sense, the Ichha Shakti will help you to become qualified. That is, you start deserving that particular object which you are seeking. That is also a factor to be considered. So supposing you are in a relationship and the other person is being rude to you unreasonably. See, this is a very important point. You should also first find out, see, if another person is very rude, you should first find out whether you are doing something ignorantly, it could be deliberately or ignorantly, to provoke the other person. It may be some comments which you're passing, it may be certain actions which you're doing, which may be hurting that person. So that self-introspection you should do. Let us assume that you're not doing any of those negative things. Now the other person is being unreasonably rude to you. Now if you take this quality like nirahankaraha, now it only says be without that ahankar, that bhavana. Nirahankaraha doesn't mean you should not stand up for yourself, you should not speak for yourself. It is not at the action level, but this is at the bhavana, attitude level. So if another person is unreasonably rude to you, what should you do? You have to take steps to establish a mutual respect in the relationship. Otherwise, if you just if you're just passive and if you keep on taking the hits, after a while you will become so unhappy. Either the relationship will collapse or you will get into severe depression. The moment it is said don't be passive, now you should not get into an over aggressive mode. That then you're getting into the Rakshasic and Asuric tendency. We are talking about a balanced approach here. So if the other person is unreasonably rude to you, then you will have to find out ways by which you communicate to that person that listen, this relationship is that of mutual respect. You give respect to me, I will also give respect to you. Only then we can have this relationship. It may be by talking to that person, it may be by reacting to his or her abuses in a particular way. Sometimes when you talk, it doesn't convey the message. Just a look or behave or reacting in a particular way can give a strong message to the other person. So the point here is, don't take nirahankaraha to mean to be passive. In your life, in your situations, there are many challenges which you will be facing. And you need to have the strength to stand up for yourself. See, if you cannot speak up for yourself, then who is going to speak up for yourself? Speaking up for yourself is self-defense. Even in martial arts, if you go to the original martial arts, the great yogis and siddhas, it came from them only. Like great saints like Lord Parashurama, Agastya, Bhogar, all these people only, they were the ones who had mastered the martial arts. Now, they used it for self-defense, to combat unrighteousness. They didn't use it to simply go and create disturbance in the society or to terrorize others. That was not their motive at all. So this quality of nirahankaraha actually makes you very, very strong. See, what happens is when you're riddled with ego, now that agitates your personality so much, that causes so much of stress in your mind. And when you're very much stressed, you can't be peaceful. So when we say drop your ego, of course it can be fully done only when you become a Sthita Prajna, but at least reduce the emphasis on the ego. that is meant to calm you down, not to stop you from acting. So if you see the Ramayana, if you see the Mahabharata, you take all the Puranas, you will always find that there is an Asura or Rakshasa who is very negative. He tries to rule others and all that. And then an avatar or a great soul comes and fights against the injustice done by that person. That is a very, very important message which these masters are giving. So don't use this philosophy to become passive and tamasic in life. Don't use this to justify your weakness or your inability to stand up for yourself. So wherever you are relating with people, our principle, the principle of ancient wisdom is you give respect to others and you also take respect from others. I'm not saying you should keep expecting the respect from others. See, that's what these principles are so subtle that there is a very good chance that a sadhak can misunderstand this. See, when someone doesn't respect you, now immediately you should not become unhappy. That is what these masters are saying. But that doesn't mean you allow the other person to keep disrespecting you externally. So, as a sadhak, learn to differentiate between action and attitude. Action-wise, whatever is required of you, you need to do. Whatever is required in the situation, sometimes corrective measures may be required. A good example of this would be, supposing you're a boss in a company and your subordinate is not working properly. Let us say your subordinate is coming late every day. He is not finishing the projects on time. He is not fulfilling whatever the expectations of the project are. Now you can't say, Nirahankaraha, I am without ego, so let me not be stern with that person. You cannot say that. That is the external action. Yes, initially you may say in a nice way, that person doesn't understand that language. You may have to take some stern measures so that the project is completed. But you have to do it without personalizing it. See, ahankar means personalizing everything. If you get worked up about it, if you take it personally and then when you react, that is ahankar. But in a calm way, without any ego, if you take corrective measures, then that is not ego. Actually, a person has sent a mail where he has asked me this question. Where he says, I am in a position where there are many people under me and sometimes I have to be stern with them. Now I am afraid that then I will devolve spiritually, because if I keep encouraging my ego, then what will happen? So there you can't say it is ego. So as a sadhak, be very, very clear. See, look within yourself. Are you taking this corrective measure just for your personal satisfaction, or are you doing it because it is the right thing to do? If it is the latter, then you're still practicing nirahankaraha. The thumb rule is, if you practice nirahankaraha correctly in your life, that is going to give you a lot of peace. In the name of correction, if you get into a highly rajasic and tamasic mode, then that will agitate you. In the name of nirahankaraha, if you become passive in life, again that will agitate you. You will only be grumbling. So nirahankaraha is such a powerful sadhana which not only helps you to purify yourself, but it also gives you that strength to face the various challenges which you will confront in your life. So many people who claim to be spiritual, they suffer unnecessarily in life because of passivity. So any of these principles, whether it's nisprihaha or nirmamaha or nirahankaraha, or earlier so many principles are there. Any of these principles, if you take and if you misunderstand that particular principle, that will lead to an extreme kind of behavior in life. See, over aggressiveness is also extreme. Being very passive is also extreme. Now you should learn to take the middle path. So nirahankaraha, the sadhana has been suggested to you so that you start becoming peaceful from within, number one. And number two, you also start getting the inner strength to be able to perform your duties and obligations in life in a better way. So as a boss, you have certain duties. You have to lead the team. You have to fulfill certain targets. Now you need to do whatever is required to achieve those targets. In that process, if someone is not cooperating, then it is your duty to correct that action, that is the wrong action of that person. That is not ego. So speaking up for yourself, standing up for yourself, these are all good qualities, qualities which give you a lot of strength, which make you very strong as a person. So a spiritual person is one who does not do any harm to others, and he does not allow others also to do any harm to him. This is very important. Actually, most people, with half-baked knowledge, they either become over-aggressive in the name of being strong, or they become over-passive and they go on complaining in life. So remember, whatever results which you are getting in your life is because of you only, your karmas, your actions, your attitude. So if you are suffering in life today, find out, am I being over aggressive somewhere in that area, or am I being over passive? So you should learn to balance these two tendencies within you. That is, this tendency to be over aggressive and the tendency to be over passive. You should be balanced and walk in the middle path. Where it's required, you need to take corrective measures. Where it is not required, you handle it in a very simple and calm way. Externally, I'm talking of external actions. Internally, at no point should you lose your calmness. That is what is the goal of spirituality. If you're losing your calmness today, that is fine. As a sadhak, you're trying to improve yourself. You're trying to perfect yourself. That is a very that is the very game of spirituality, I would say. But in the name of calmness, don't become passive. In the name of becoming strong, don't become over aggressive. This is a very important message for all the sadhaks. It is not only for the person who has asked this question, but to all the sadhaks. Never ever confuse the action with the inner principles. Externally, you need to do whatever you have to do. If your children are going completely astray, let us say your child is taking up to drugs. Now you can't say, nirahankara, I don't have any ego. I will not interfere with their karmas. So let them do whatever they have to do. You can't say that. Then you are misusing this philosophy. There you have a duty to correct. All it said is don't get into corrective action with ego. Don't get into corrective action with a lot of stress and agitations. See what has to be done, what is the best way that problem can be solved, and do that. So this is very, very important, especially when we are seeing a principle like nirahankara in depth. So in case you're finding that you're slipping into one of these two extremes, now become vigilant. This path is such a subtle path. I wouldn't say it is very easy. There are a lot of difficulties because you have to face the innermost aspect of yourself. You have to face yourself with a lot of courage, and then there are so many subtleties when you practice these principles. So there is always a chance of making mistakes. That is okay. But go on putting that effort in trying to understand the subtleties of what is being given. So don't just take one concept and fix something in your mind and then you become rigid with that. Every principle has infinite dimensions. So the application of these principles will change from situation to situation. See, the same Krishna who told the Pandavas to fight for their cause. Now he was instrumental in the entire, when the entire community shifted from Mathura to Dwaraka. See, what happened is there was a king, his name was Jarasandha. He and few others were constantly attacking Mathura. And Balarama and others, Balarama was the elder brother of Krishna, they said, let us go and fight against him. So Krishna was against that. He said, no, this is not the time. They are very powerful. Then Balarama asked him, what is the best solution to this? He said, let us all run away. Let us shift our city. Let us go off to Dwaraka. Balarama got very angry. He said, Krishna, how can you suggest that? How can, people will laugh at us saying that we have run away out of fear. To which Krishna gives a beautiful advice to his elder brother. He says, brother, what does it really matter what others think of us? I am not suggesting this out of fear. I am only suggesting this as a tactical principle. Right now, they are very powerful. The time has not come for us to fight them. So the best thing would be to avoid conflict. That is the principle which is being said. Now, if others think that we are going away because of fear, that is their problem. So Krishna demonstrated this, no ego. Whatever the situation demanded, that was done. So if the situation demanded that there has to be a war, then he asked Arjuna to gear up, to fight against unrighteousness. When the situation demanded that they had to avoid conflict, avoid war, again he did that quite cheerfully. He was not bothered about others' opinion. See, that is also ego only. It's only the ego which is concerned about, rather which gets affected by the opinion of others. So the same Krishna who later on asked the Pandavas to fight for their cause, it was him only who had suggested to his elder brother to withdraw from conflict. So two opposite actions, two diametrically opposite actions, but the attitude was one of nirahankara. There was nothing personal in his decisions. He never personalized anything. He always saw what was the best course of action in that particular situation, and then he did that. So that is one of the signs, if you're practicing these qualities like nirmamaha, nirahankaraha and all properly, now you will become very stable and balanced in life, and you will see what is the best thing which needs to be done in a particular situation, and you will do it. You will not do something merely because you like it or you prefer it. You will examine it and see whether it is the right thing to do, and then you will do it. This is a very important, I would say, sign of whether you are practicing the nirahankaraha and nirmamaha properly. So, I was explaining to you the combination vihaya kaman and then nirahankaraha. So with respect to desires, there are three types or three I would say levels. So the middle one is kamaha, and then if kamaha means uncontrolled desires. Now if you allow that kamaha to just flow, it will become sprihaha, or too much of trishna, that is too much of force will be gathered. Now that is the asuric tendency. So a person who has kamaha has a rakshasic tendency. The person who has too much of craving, when the desire becomes an intense craving, then that is an asuric tendency. A person who is sattvic doesn't fall a prey to either kamaha or craving. He instead generates desires on a functional basis. His desires are well under his control. That is called ichcha. So if you have asuric ego, you will develop too much of craving for something. If you have rakshasic ego, you will develop too much of desire. Your desires will be uncontrolled. Now if you have sattvic ego, you will have the capacity to generate ichcha. Now once you go beyond ego, that is, once you become a sthita prajna, you can play about with all these things. A sthita prajna can generate ichcha at his or her will and again withdraw it. It all becomes a child's play once you reach the highest. So we are not discussing that state. From a relative state, what are the three levels of ego is what you need to understand first. So when it comes to your desires, I will give you some more subtler principles. That is the connection between the desires and ego. See, fundamentally, these masters are not saying having desires is wrong. They are only saying if your desire is not under your control, then that will lead you into trouble. It will completely remove all your peace. It's going to cause a tremendous stress in you. Not only that, how do you essentially differentiate between kamaha, ichcha and craving, spriha? How do you differentiate this? That is where we can apply the nirahankaraha principle, the three kinds of egos, the asuric, rakshasic and sattvic, the daivika ahankar. So fundamentally, whenever you have kamaha, what happens is you think that that object which you're desiring is going to give you happiness. So desire is a thought flow which you generate within yourself in order to become happy. Nobody will ever generate a desire in order to become unhappy. Even when a person commits suicide, that person is going through a lot of stress. He is in a very unhappy state and he thinks that by ending his life now all his suffering will go away. That is what prompts a person to commit a suicide also. So every activity which you do is prompted by your desires. And these desires are aimed at making yourself more happy. Just try to understand what is happening within yourself. If you can visualize whatever I am saying like a movie which is happening within you, it will help you to grasp these principles very fast. So we can say a desire is a mechanism which the mind follows. The mechanism where a thought flow is generated in order to become happy. Now here by desire we mean kamaha. So the essential factor of kamaha is I am unhappy today and I want to become happy. So a thought flow is generated towards some object externally. It could be an object, it could be a person, it could be anything. But you generate that desire. So when this process is not under your control, we call it kamaha. When this process goes totally out of your control, then it becomes a craving. When this process is well within your control, it is the Ichcha Shakti. With the Ichcha Shakti, you can convert your desires into proper goals and channelize all your energies towards that and achieve your goals in life. See, if you're just merely desiring and not doing anything about it, or if you're into a tremendous craving mode, that you're unable to even think clearly, then how can you function? How can you get that object? Only if you convert it into a realistic goal and if you calmly analyze, okay, what should I do in order to achieve that goal, you will be able to proceed further. So that is what the Ichcha Shakti does to you. It gives you that power to achieve whatever you want. So with respect to happiness, you need to understand the mechanism of these desires. So when you're in a state of unhappiness, now you want to become happy. In order to become happy, now your mind starts looking externally. It starts looking outward. And yes, now I want that, I want this. So many desires start coming in the mind. All these are aimed towards becoming happy only. The best of things in life are prompted by this inherent desire for happiness. The worst of things in life, there is the worst activities in life which people may do, that is also prompted by this inherent desire for happiness. They think that will give them happiness. That is why they are doing that. So if you want to understand this mechanism, which is very important, when you understand the inner mechanism, you will know how to operate it. See, if you take a computer, if you understand how it works, you can operate it in a better way. So when you understand how your own mind works, you are in a position of strength. You can control and direct it properly and gain complete mastery over it. That is the reason why we are seeing this in such great detail. So when it comes to happiness, how does these three types of people, that is the Asuric, Rakshasic and Daivika, these three kinds of people relate to happiness? We will see that briefly, because that is very much required to penetrate and understand what he is trying to say when he says Vihaya Kaman, be without desires. So a person who has Asuric ego, now he will want an object. Wanting an object is a desire, craving. Now he will want an object intensely, that has become a craving. But why is he wanting that object? Not merely for his happiness. See, he wants to destroy others for his happiness. That is, the way his mind works is, it is not enough if I get this particular object. I want to ensure that the other person does not get it. Only then I will be happy. When the desire deteriorates into craving, now that is the Asuric ego. Now how does that Asuric ego function? How will that craving function? How will that person think? That person will not be happy if he gets something in life. He will be happy only if others are denied of that object and he gets it. So all his energies will be focused on depriving others of that particular object which he wants, and the efforts will be directed towards having everything for himself. So whenever you are unhappy when another person has something, that is one level. But if you are unhappy even if you get that object in life, why? Because the other person is having, so I will be happy only if that is taken away from him. Then that is a very dangerous situation. That is the Asuric ego. So when it comes to happiness, how does this mechanism of desire function in a person who has Asuric ego? He is not happy with merely getting something in life. He feels he can be happy only if others are denied of that. That is the sadistic tendency. It could be any object. It could be a tangible object like wealth or some sense object, or it could be an intangible object like name or fame. Sometimes you find people who are very famous, they fight against each other. One person passes derogatory comments against another person. That person also passes a derogatory comment against this person. Both of them are very famous in their fields. They have got their due, the name, fame, whatever it is that they wanted. Still, they are not happy with that. They feel very jealous that the other person is having it. The jealousy is at the extreme level. So they are happy only if if the other person is denied of that name or fame. So they put in a lot of efforts to defame the other person. So if you really think about it, such a person can never be happy. See, we are saying happiness is inside. That is what these great masters are saying. Now here, a person with asuric ego has not merely placed the happiness outside, but it has gone to an extreme level where he feels that he has to have everything in life only for himself or herself. This has nothing to do with being a male or female. It is an internal tendency. So an asura is one who not only tries to get objects for himself, but he also tries to destroy others and deny others of whatever they are trying to get in life. A good part of his efforts are directed towards that. Now, let us see a person who has rajasic ego. A person who has this rajas. Now, when a desire is generated, the mechanism of this desire is generated, he feels, I am very unhappy today. Now, if I get that object, I'll become happy. Now, he will also look at others. What about others? Are they having this or not? Oh, they are having it. So, let me try to have this a little more than others. The tendency of comparison will be there. So, if a person wants something in life, that is one thing. But then comparing with another person and always wanting to be the first, always wanting to have something more than others, that is the rajasic tendency. When it comes to the tamasic tendency, the asuric tendency, it is not a tendency to have something more than others. I want 100% and others should have 0. That is the asuric ego. Now, I want something, but that should be more than others. That is the rakshasic ego, rajas. So, a person who is having the rakshasic tendencies, now how will he function? He will constantly keep generating desires. The desires will generate on their own. Now, supposing he tries to convert them into goals, his goals will always be in comparison with others. Okay, how much did the other person get? Now, let me fix my goal as something more than that. This is applicable at any stage in life. See, for example, if we take a student, if a student says, I want to come first, that is actually a rajasic tendency. Innocuously, even parents encourage that. But what this ancient wisdom says is, there is no question of coming first or second. See, that is always relative to others. Instead, why don't you fix your goals independently? I want to get so much of marks in the subject. Because when you say, I want to come first, you may not give your best, because if all others are getting only 40%, if you get 41%, then you are first. But your potential may be to get 99%. You will miss out on that. So that is prompted by the Rajasic nature. So the Rajasic nature is the state of comparison. The desire is always pitched up in a state of comparison. In the Asuric nature, the desire is pitched up in a state of destruction. There is a destructive mode inherently present there. You want everything and you don't want others to have anything. In a Rajasic nature, you're okay with others having something, but you should always have more than them. That is a state of comparison. So such a person also can never be happy, because in life you can never have everything more than others. See, life always balances out everything, In certain areas you will have something more. In other areas, others may have something more. And even in the same area, sometimes you may have more than others, and sometimes others may have more than you. So since that is the reality of life, if your focus is on always comparing yourself with others and trying to outscore others, in that process you will lose your peace of mind. All the shanti will go away. Then what is the sattvic way of functioning, the daivika way, the divine, the godly way of functioning? Now, when you have the sattvic nature, there that is called ichcha, the desire. How does the mechanism of desire function? See, ichcha is also called desire, kama is also called desire, spriha is also called desire only in English. But in Sanskrit, it's totally different. That is why we are using the word willful desire for ichcha. Just the uncontrolled desire, if you want, we can use for kama, and craving for spriha, just to make you understand the difference. So how does this mechanism of ichcha function? Number one, there is no comparison with others. What the other person has nothing to do with you. So a sattvic person is very clear. This is what I require in life. This is what I want in life. Now let me go about achieving that. If we take the same student example, it is not a question of competing with others and coming first. It is a question of what do I want to achieve. In mathematics, I want to get 100. That is my independent goal. I am not bothered about what the other students are getting. So right from young age, there are many youngsters who are watching these sessions regularly, and some of them are putting their points also in the YouTube section after the lectures. It's very, very nice, because at a young age, when you're gaining this wisdom, you're really learning how to master yourself and how to master your life. Before you enter the mainstream of your life, when you're gaining this wisdom, it's so wonderful. So this is something which you can start practicing. Fix goals for yourself. Don't fix your goals in comparison with others. If you want a car, yes, I want a car, I want to have that experience. This is sattvic. I want a car. Why? Because the other person is having a car. Now what is the model? What model of car does he have? This model. Now I want to get a higher model. I want a cell phone. I want that experience. It could be the latest model also, no issue, I want that. This is Icha. But if you say, oh, the friend or that person has this model, so let me get a higher model than that person, then that is the Rakshasic tendency. Of course, the Asuric tendency is I want a car, I want to sell, and I will somehow put an effort so that that person's cell breaks. I'll ensure that that person loses his cell. Then that becomes an Asuric tendency. So I always say, decide what you want in life. Whenever I say that, this is what is meant. The Icha Shakti should be used properly. So in life, as a Jivatma, as an individual soul, you have taken this birth, you have taken up this body. Now it is important for you to recognize what is it that you want to experience in your life. And in every area of life, wealth, how much wealth do you want to experience and enjoy? Fix a clear-cut goal. Every year you may increase your goal also. That is okay. But as long as it is Icha, there is no issue. You will continue to evolve spiritually. But the moment it becomes Kamaha or Sprihaha, uncontrolled desire or craving, then you will get into problems. How do we find out? Simple yardstick. What is it that I am seeking through this desire? Am I seeking something with respect to others? If that is the case, then it is Rajasic. Am I seeking something with respect to others in the sense I want everything for myself and I don't want anything for others? Then that becomes Asuric. So as a sadhak, what these masters are saying is that you should fix goals in life. And how do you fix your goals? By very clearly determining what is it that I want to experience as an individual soul. I have taken this birth. See, each and every one of you, you have taken this particular birth with this particular body to experience certain things in life. Now, instead of focusing on that, if your focus is on others, then you're moving away from your goal. If you focus on what you want in life, clear-cut goals will be fixed and you will put on all the efforts to achieve that. That is a sattvic way of functioning. No doubt the element of ego is still there, but it is well under your control. That ego will push you to fulfill your desires, your ichhas, in a very sattvic way, in a sadhana way. You will start completing all your experiences. When you function with Rajasic ego, no doubt you will fulfill many of your desires, but you will not complete the experiences. You will fulfill a desire and then you will look at others, oh, they are having that, is it? They are having this much, is it? Now, the stress will start. This process will go on endlessly because there are enough people for you to compare yourself with. If you start this process of comparing, just imagine you are one person and there are billions of people in the world. How many people are you going to compare yourself with? Quantitatively itself. And even if you say, no, sir, I'll compare myself only with one person. Now, that person will be enjoying so many things in life. Are you going to constantly keep competing with that person? Isn't it a very ridiculous approach to life? The cause of all the stress today in life is because of this only, comparing yourself with others. Why don't you live your life in a free way, peacefully? No, the mind doesn't allow you to be peaceful. It will unnecessarily bring in others. How much does the other person have? Now how much do I have? A comparison will be made and you will lose all your peace of mind. I am dramatizing this so that you start understanding what is happening within you. Even when it comes to sadhana, if you do it in a rakshasic way, you will start comparing yourself as a sadhak with others. That is why I always say, even if you are attending as a husband and wife, as a family, don't compare your experiences with others. Actually, don't exchange your experiences with others, because each one will get a unique experience. One person may feel certain extra vibrations, another person may experience this energy in his own way. He may not feel any vibrations, but he may feel a lot of mental calmness. A third person, may feel a lot of cleaning up happening sometimes. So a lot of turbulence may have been experienced. Each one's experience is unique and different. So when you start comparing, then you will get into a problem. So when you're doing your sadhana, if you're constantly watching, how much is my wife, or if you're a wife, then how much of benefits my partner, my husband is getting. Somehow or other I should get more benefits. If your focus is like that, then that is the Rajasic way. Asuric way means I alone should get all the benefits of sadhana, nobody else should get. That is the Asuric tendency. Sattvic means you are really not bothered about others. See, your focus is on self-purification. So let me do my sadhana and I surrender to the higher grace, I surrender to the Guru Kripa and receive this energy as much as possible, and I will grow in my way. This is the Sattvic way of doing sadhana. So, when it comes to desires, it is a mechanism to become happy. It is the mind's way of trying to become happy. Now that is very much controlled by the ego, ahankar. So depending upon what type of ego you have, the desire will either be sprihaha, craving, or it will be kamaha, uncontrolled desire, or it will be ichha, which is willful desire. Isn't it amazing? One is to just study the nature of your mind, the desires, but other is when you study it in this background, that is, if you see what is prompting the desire to behave in that particular way, which is related to, which depends on the nature of your ego, whether it is asuric or rakshasic or daivika, then you get a comprehensive picture about yourself. As I told you earlier, this is true swadhyaya, study of oneself. This is true jnana yoga. Jnana yoga is not study of books and all that. And then when you go and apply this in your life, it will get converted into karma yoga automatically. All the tips, practical tips which are being given to you are aimed towards that only. The goal of giving these practical tips is so that you will be able to apply these principles in action. If you merely gain the wisdom and you are not putting anything into practice, means no use. So, this week's sadhana tip, homework, is this only. Analyze what is your tendency. Is your tendency first to compare yourself with others? Number one. Now, if you are comparing yourself with others, then you are moving away from the sattvic aspect. Now, how do you know whether it is rajas or tamas? That is the next thing you need to find out. Am I wanting to compete with others and get more than others, or am I wanting to destroy others? That is, am I wanting everything for myself? Depending upon what your tendency is, it becomes rakshasic or asuric. So take up the major areas of your life and just see the play of the desires, whether it is prihaha, kamaha or ichha. And now you go backwards. If it is sprihaha, it is the asuric ego. If it is kamaha, it is the rajasic ego, the rakshasic ego. If it is ichha, it is the sattvic nature. Now, in terms of happiness, what am I doing in life? When you apply the happiness factor to these desires, am I happy with whatever I am having in life and whatever I am going to achieve in life? Then that is ichha. Am I constantly comparing myself with others and I feel I'll be happy only if I get more than others? Then that is the rakshasic ego. Am I happy only if another person is denied of certain things? Then that is asuric ego. It is a powerful sadhana homework which I am giving you. Step by step, we are moving step by step. At every step, I've been giving you certain practices, certain homeworks. Now, if you follow these principles diligently, you will find a tremendous transformation happening within you. So, in case you're able to locate this very clearly, initially it may be a little confusing because you're going literally. I'm asking you to sit behind your mind and observe your mind. It is not so easy. That is a very advanced practice. But I'm asking you to put that efforts now itself in the higher empowerment programs which we'll be having in the future. This principle will be employed to create a total transformation. But you start off that sadhana from your end now itself. To whatever extent you can practice this, practice it. So, if you're able to see it clearly, automatically now this wisdom, will start working within you. Why do I need to depend? Why do I need to compare myself with others to become happy? This thought will start coming to you. Let me fulfill my purpose in life. Let me fix goals and complete my experiences in life. Why do I need to compare myself with others? But this thought itself will not come to you if you don't see what is happening within you today. That is why I'm asking you to do this homework. Okay, so you do this homework and come back next week. I'll give you some more tips, and after that we'll move on further. We'll go to the next verse also. But this particular verse, I'm spending a lot of time. I'm actually spending more time in this verse because this has the entire wisdom. The wisdom of your entire life, the wisdom related to your sadhana is complete in this verse. So it is worth spending this much amount of time, Okay, so before we do the meditation, I will take up one question. This question has been asked by Bhama Mahendraji. So pranams Guruji. The masters say unfulfilled desires are the cause of anger. After trying and working to achieve what I desire for a very long time, maybe many years and not able to get the desire fulfilled, and I feel all avenues are closed and there is no possibility to fulfill the desire, I get an emotion called varuttam in Tamil. Can be told as grief, but not self-pity. So varuttam is a negative emotion and I feel it is not anger. I don't see it as sad, opposite of happiness. At this point, how to overcome it since it may lead to depression? A nice question which she has asked. First of all, unfulfilled desires will not lead to anger. Merely unfulfilled desires. See, when we did the ladder of fall, I had explained that in detail. So you can always go back to these verses, to those verses and see how, what are the different modifications of the desires. See, when your desire is unfulfilled, it will lead to sorrow, shokaha, grief, not anger. I don't know from where you picked it up. No master has ever said unfulfilled desires will lead to anger. When your desire is unfulfilled because of another person, when there is an obstruction to your desire, then that becomes anger. So the anger may be with respect to others. If you think you yourself are unable to fulfill something, then you become an obstruction towards the fulfillment of the desire, then that can create self-anger, that is called frustration. So when your desires are unfulfilled, that will cause shokaha, sorrow. When your desires are obstructed, then that will give rise to anger. So your point is right. Varuttam in Tamil language means worry actually. But more than varuttam, I would say you can use the word sogam. So shokaha in Sanskritam language is the same. In Tamil also we say sogam arkada. Sogam means sorrow. So if you want to overcome that, you're perfectly right in this aspect where you say if you allow it to go further, that will lead to depression. So if you want to overcome that, first you have to go to the root cause, the desire. See, when we generate desires, as I told you, it should be ichha, not kamaha. When it is kamaha, it is out of your control. So when you have ichha, supposing, let us say you fix a goal and that goal is not fulfilled. Now, if first of all, even before seeing whether the goal is fulfilled or not, when it is ichha, you will consider all the factors. Is my desire only pertaining to myself or is it pertaining to another person? Like one mother, she came and met me some time back. Her desire was that her son should pass a particular entrance exam. Now her son's nature was different, at least at that point of time. Now the more she developed the desire, the more stress was felt by the son. And when he failed, now she was feeling very unhappy. So you have to first examine your desire, whether your desire is pertaining to yourself, your experiences, or is your desire pertaining to another person. Why I am saying this is, if your desire is with respect to another person, then that person's karmas also have to be considered. Now you may ask me, sir, as a mother, don't I have the right to wish for the happiness of my son or my daughter? Of course you have. But you have to take into consideration that your son's or daughter's karmas also. Probably, you see, you want your son to excel in this field, but probably that will not give that will not give happiness to your son. How do you know? So it is wiser to have a desire when it comes to with respect to others. It is wiser to examine your desire and have a desire like this: in whatever be the path my son or daughter chooses, let him or her be happy. If my son decides to become an engineer, let him be happy there. Let him be successful there. If my son chooses to become a doctor, let him be successful there. So that person has his or her own karmas. You see, each one is an individual. Now, you cannot in a unilateral way have your set of desires. So, if that shokaha, if the sorrow is there, now examine the desire. Is the desire with respect to others or is the desire with respect to me? If it is with respect to others, now you have to consider the karmas of others. You can't have a fixed principle. That person has to choose what he or she wants to do in life. So you should conform your desire, you should refine your desire, you should change your desire accordingly. That is what this Ichha Shakti gives you, that power to change your desire in such a way that it becomes practical. This is very, very important. If you don't do that, you cannot overcome your sorrow. Supposing it is a desire only with respect to yourself, now examine. Did I desire something which was way beyond my level? Am I having the capacity to achieve it? If the answer is no, then now there are two options. Either I increase my capacity to fulfill the desire, or I change my desire to suit whatever is practically there. So conforming your desire to realities, that is what you should, that is a principle which you should apply if you want to overcome sorrow. This is all for deeper understanding of why the desire has caused the sorrow. Basically, the desire is unfulfilled. That is why the sorrow is there. But why was it unfulfilled? Was it because it was a misplaced desire, unrealistic desire with respect to others? Or was it because it was an unrealistic desire with respect to your own capacity? All these things you need to understand. This is number one. This is on one side. On the other side, without allowing the sorrow to become depression, you need to release it, release that emotion of sorrow when you're doing your Yoga Sankirtan sadhana every day. So tomorrow itself, when you sit for your Yoga Sankirtan session, now before you sit, surrender to the higher Shakti, surrender to the Guru Shakti. It does not matter what is the cause of the sorrow. Whatever be the cause, the intention should be to release it. So you surrender to the Guru Shakti and then you sit in a calm way and play the Yoga Sankirtan material. Now since you already have this intention of releasing the sorrow, now all the incidents pertaining to that particular desire will all start coming out. You may actually see those incidents, a lot of thoughts may come, a lot of emotions may come out, or you may feel a lot of vibrations. In some way, that energy which has been built up within you will all start coming out. So when they come out, do the deep breathing. So when you do it with a sincere surrender to the higher Shakti and the Guru Shakti, the higher Shakti will help you, the Guru Shakti will help you to release whatever you have stored within yourself. See, irrespective of what the desire is, First, you should focus on releasing the sorrow from within. When the energy of sorrow is not released from within, then it will get stored deep within you, and that is when it can turn into depression. So tomorrow itself, from tomorrow, you go round by round, Nirvana Shatkam, Sri Haridhyana, Mahashivadhyana. Again repeat the cycle. In the first cycle itself, you should be able to release most of this negative energy of sorrow. Then second cycle it will become lesser. Third cycle it will become further less. Now that you have attended the Yoga Sankirtan intensive empowerment, I have given you the higher level of empowerment this time. So your capacity to do the sadhana will be much more. So utilize that and release this sorrow. If you don't do anything about it, only then it will turn into depression. Okay, so follow this, and then you can get back to me if you have further clarifications. But please do this sadhana. Don't sit with that. Don't allow the feeling of sorrow to engulf you. When you release this sorrow, then you will be in a position to understand whatever I had given in the initial part of this answer, that is how the desires need to be conformed to reality and all that. So the more you accept situations as they are, you will become peaceful. But that capacity to accept a situation as it is will come only if you release the negative energy, in this case a sorrow, with respect to that area. So I request you to do the sadhana and then you get back to me. Okay? So now we'll do the meditation. Sit in a relaxed way. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, my entire personality is becoming divine. With every breath, I'm going deep within myself. This physical body, the various emotions and the various thoughts are all external coverings. Beyond my body, beyond my emotions, beyond my thoughts, lies the infinite supreme reality. From this moment onwards, I choose to clearly fix my goals in life. I choose to focus on whatever I want. I choose to complete my experiences in life. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So it was a very deep session which we had today. I've triggered a lot of self-examination within you. So if you do the homework which was given to you, it will give you tremendous benefits. To examine your own self, to examine your life is the first step towards transforming it. If you're afraid to examine yourself, if you're unwilling, if you're lazy or afraid, or it could be due to any reason, but if you don't want to examine yourself, then there is no question of self-transformation. So reflect on these principles which have been given today. This is like a gold mine, The more we take out the more keeps on coming, isn't it? So enjoy this very process of taking out the gold from within. It is not about how many verses we cover. It is about how much we take out from each verse. That is the key. Okay? So do your sadhana on a daily basis. That is going to protect you, that is going to uplift you, and come back for the next session. If you do your homework and then when you come, what you will get out of the next session will be more. There is a system which is being followed. So if you follow that system, you will gain maximum benefits. Okay? So thank you very much. Hari Om.